What does it take to ignite the spark of a brilliant idea into a thriving startup? Ponder that for a moment as we dive into the exciting world of entrepreneurship and startup pitches. Entrepreneurship, pre-seed startup pitch, and networking with entrepreneurs is an online gathering that promises to be a fertile ground for startup leaders to learn, launch, and connect with investors. Organized by PragmaServe Solutions and Wise Holdings, subsidiaries of the multifaceted JBJ Group. Now, let's talk about the guest speakers. First, we have Mr. Prince Kelly Anyomitse, a seasoned entrepreneur with a wealth of experience in turning ideas into successful ventures. His insights are sure to provide valuable guidance for those in the early stages of their entrepreneurial journey. Joining him is Mr. Benjamin Owusu, another notable figure in the startup ecosystem. His knowledge and experience are bound to inspire and guide the attendees. Together, these speakers bring a world of wisdom and expertise to the table. This event is a platform for young entrepreneurs to exchange ideas, learn from seasoned professionals, and potentially connect with investors. It's about fostering a community where creativity meets business acumen, and ideas can grow into successful enterprises. To summarize, the Entrepreneurship, Pre-Seed Startup Pitch, and Networking with Entrepreneurs event is more than just a gathering. It's an opportunity, a learning experience, and a stepping stone towards success in the startup world. As who knows, the spark for your startup might just ignite at this event.
Right. Amin uses coconut waste to produce charcoal. And then Georgia Pierre is into the renewable energy. Georgia Pierre himself is a serial entrepreneur. He's been in this space for long, but what has clearly defined him in the most recent times as a CEO and a founder within the ecosystem is Solar Taxi. So he's currently leading the team that is producing motorcycles, tricycles, and other movable materials that are running on solar, and he's training so many young females and young males who are working within that space. So these are the 4 male entrepreneurs from the Ghanaian ecosystem. Let's move to the next one with the females. Right. So I realized that most of us didn't get the females. What I'm going to task you with is to try and take note of these females and check up of them once this session is done. The lady to the left is Constance Swanika. So Constance Swanika is the CEO of Ascent and Arts. It's a company that is into the production of metal artifacts. So she produces chairs and all other beautiful stuff designed from metallic waste, and is training so many young people through her institution called the Design Technology Institute. In the middle, we have Regina Honu, who is the CEO of Strunku Solutions, a tech company training young people to get digital skills and tech skills as well. We have Nishi Adi, one of the shining lights of females from this part of the continent. She's the CEO of Jetstream Africa, a platform that is basically connecting people to logistical services. And then we have Irabna Ajiman and Anyoko, who are founders of the fashion brand Wear Ghana. Why did I bring this up? I brought this up because my understanding is that for most of us who have joined this conference or this event, we are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. We want to build that skill and career for ourselves. We want to make it big through the ideas that we are generating. It isn't a journey for the faint-hearted. It isn't a journey for people who don't necessarily have the passion and the desire to be able to go to the end. And one of the things that can see you through is learning from those who have been ahead of you, understanding how their journey has been, and picking lessons from what they have done and still are doing, because they are also on their own journey as well. This is why I decided to show this from the beginning, to see how well we understand the journey that we want to take, to see how well we know the people who are in that space and what we are learning from them. So if you do not know any of these people, if this is the first time you are engaging with any of them, I would advise that you take note of them, check out what they do. It may not even be in the sector that you are operating in, but at least because it's still within the space of entrepreneurship and business building, you will be able to learn 1 or 2 things from them. It's extremely important. And as we go along, we'll get to know why that is the case. Bismarck, let's move to the next slide. The next slide has a question on it. And the question is asking that, what one word comes to your mind when you hear the word entrepreneurship? What other word do you associate with entrepreneurship as an individual, as a person? We are going to spend the next 1 hour, 1 minute, to also do that exercise, brief exercise. What comes to your mind once you hear the word entrepreneurship? What one word comes to your mind when you hear entrepreneurship? You hear entrepreneurship, what comes to your mind? What do you think about? What do you associate it with? A CEO, okay. I hear entrepreneurship, I hear CEO, I hear business owner, I hear the leader. Anything else? Who else? Business. Julia says business. Somebody says risk taker. That's Leslie. Okay, good. So we have CEO, we have business, risk taker. Oh, I see billionaire. Mr. Ferry says once he hears the word entrepreneurship, he hears billionaire. I like that. We need a lot more billionaires on the continent, solving problems and making great impact. Anybody else? The last 10 seconds, and then we move from here. Problem solver. I like that. Problem solver. Investment, business, CEO. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I'm excited to have this wide array of words, innovators, because truly speaking, each of these words has an association with entrepreneurship. It isn't just the regular commerce that a lot of people are engaged in when it comes to business. It involves so many things. It involves innovation. So I'm happy somebody raised the word innovation. It actually requires you to think beyond the ordinary, what is clear to the eyes of many people. You are thinking in another way that most people wouldn't think about. It includes the word investment. Investment, not just financial investment, but investment, your time, investment in other forms of resources that would have to go into it, your energy. You have to sometimes invest even, what's the name? Places that you have to stay as a person once you're starting as a business. If you're going to start from your own space, you have to invest all that into it. And sometimes people even invest their education, right? Ideally, somebody would have to go to school, but they put that aside and decide that they're going to put it into their business. All that can be associated with entrepreneurship. I like problem solver because there actually would be not like entrepreneurship if there are no problems. You are solving a problem. That's what actually kicks that's the whole process of entrepreneurship. And billionaire as well, because what we expect that the problem you are solving through your innovative solutions and the other investment you are doing should bring returns. It shouldn't just be, you shouldn't just be doing it as a passion activity or something of interest that is whiling away your time. No, it should run on a model that is generating revenue. And at the end of the day, if God wills it and that makes you a millionaire, a billionaire, glory be to God. But at least the model you are running should be able to generate some revenue, and that involves taking risks and all that. So I'm very excited that we have all these words out there. It means that we do have a fair idea what entrepreneurship is. I'm not going to pretend as though nobody on this group understands what it is about. Once you have put across these words, it means that you know what exactly entrepreneurship does entail. So we are not going to spend much time around that. Bismarck, let's move to the next slide and see what we need to do at this point. What I need us to do is to get introduced to the business model canvas. How many of us have heard about the business model canvas before? Just show by hand. Bismarck, you could kindly stop sharing now so I can share the model canvas from my end. And please enable screen sharing for me. How many of us have come across the business model canvas? I also did send it to Bismarck earlier on, so I'm hoping that for those of you who had it, you have access to it now, and you can just have a look at it whilst we are running through it. So I'm going to share my screen, and if you have it, you also can take a look at it from your end. So I've started sharing. I hope you can see my screen. We have the business model canvas here. Now, what is the business model canvas? The business model canvas, basically, it's a simple document or tool that allows you to represent your business and its operation on paper to give you a clearer understanding of exactly what your model of that business is and how it should operate, right? So that is just something to give you a fair idea what your thinking process within your head about whatever business, whatever innovation, whatever solution you are developing should look like as a business on the ground, right? So this is a tool that a lot of businesses use from the beginning. It's an evolving tool, so it's not a one-off thing. You don't just create it once and let it be. It keeps evolving, you keep updating it, you keep changing things, because as a business, just like humans, it grows, it changes, it develops, it has different features, it becomes bigger at different points in time, and your needs also change as you go along. Now, as you look at this document, I want you to focus on it in 4 different ways. Now, first of all, place your attention at the exact middle of this document where we have the value proposition. That basically is the fulcrum. It's like what your business revolves around. Your business is supposed to revolve around a value that you are offering to whoever you are making that business work for. Value proposition is basically what you are promising to deliver to your prospective clients or your prospective customers or whoever is going to be interacting with your business. What promise are you offering them? So I spoke earlier on about some of our entrepreneurs. I mentioned the likes of Amin, who is making charcoal out of coconut waste. For Amin, he's making charcoal, right? But it's not the ordinary kind of charcoal. So what is he promising to his clients? He's promising them a cheaper option of charcoal, which has been created through a sustainable means. So yes, you are giving them charcoal just like any other person would do. But what differentiates yours from the other one on the market? You are using sustainable means to produce yours. Hence, you are not causing negative effect on the environment. So that is the value that he's offering to his clients. If you come to the likes of Anthony Jamepe, who is making watches, he's not just giving you a watch to wear. What he's promising you is an experience of having a watch that has been designed to reflect the kind of person you are and has been created purposely to fit your persona. So for most of the people who wear his watches, it's either customized in their name or it has something that, you know, reflects particularly who they are. He's giving them an experience that they can connect to. That's the value offer that he's giving to his clients. And that's how I want us to think about our businesses, our ideas when we start generating them. Once you are solving a problem, what is unique about it and what are you promising your clients? So over here, there are a few questions to guide us in thinking along that line. Questions like, which of your customers' problems are you solving? What is your customer's need that your value proposition addresses? What is your promise to your customer, and what are the products and services you create for your customers? All these are questions that would help you define properly what kind of value you need to offer to them. And you must bear in mind that this value should not just be something you have thought about in your own bedroom or in your own room with your close circle of friends. It should be something that you have had some research done, some interaction done with these prospective clients, and you know truly that is where their pain point is. That is what is really a frustration to them. So once you solve their frustration, you are offering them value. Now, let's take our eyes now off the value proposition and take it slightly to the right-hand side of value proposition. That section, it's having 3 different groups or 3 different divisions. Everything around that side is related to the one for which the value has been created for. So that's like the output end of your business. So you have the value proposition. Who are you creating that value for? That is what happens on the right side of the business model canvas. So you see things like the kind of customer segmentation, the channels, and then the customer relationship. And I'll explain this to you. Customer segmentation, because for every business that you are creating, there are some groups and kinds of people that you have in mind to serve. So Anthony Jamefe, yes, is making watches to create an experience and make people connect to it, but it's not a kind of watch that every ordinary person can buy, because the price range for that watch is markedly above the ordinary ones that people who do not have enough disposable income can buy, right? So he has defined his group as the middle class and above, people who have a certain level of disposable income. That is the kind of person that he is serving. If you come to Amin, yes, Amin is creating ordinary charcoal like any other person is doing, but who is he creating it for? He's creating it for not just the lady who is owning a chop bar in one corner of the community, but he's also creating it for that middle class woman in her 2 or 3 bedroom house who still wants to use charcoal but does not want smoke generating out of the charcoal because she probably wants to do some kind of cooking, kebab and other stuff that she needs a certain kind of taste to that food. She wants charcoal, but she doesn't want to go to the ordinary side. She doesn't want to create a negative effect on the environment because of her exposure to climate change and all other things. So those are his customer segmentation as well. If you come to the likes of Wear Ghana, Erabna and Anyoko, they are creating a brand that makes you feel connected to it as a Ghanaian, as an African. So you wear Ghana and you are traveling outside of this country and you're excited because you know that somebody's going to ask you a question about that, what you are wearing, how unique it is and where it is coming from. It gives you the opportunity to now speak about your country and where you are coming. It gives you that pride as a Ghanaian. So those are the kind of thinking that you have as a business owner when you are creating your product for a certain group of customers or a certain segment of the community. So which questions should guide you? The questions such as, for whom are you creating value? What are the customer segments that either pay, receive, or decide on your value propositions? And it's important to have all those distinctions clearly laid out. Are these people who are going to pay for it? Or are these people who are going to decide on who should pay for it? Because we have certain people who are customers, but they are not necessarily consumers. If you are making a baby product, for instance, you are making the baby product for babies who are your consumers, but your customers are people who take care of those babies. So their parents, their guidance, schools, and all those things. So you do have to make that clear distinction. Now, after you have clearly done your customer segmentation, you now need to look at the channel through which you are going to reach them. How do you reach these people, right? If you are reaching out to people who ordinarily operate chop bars and most of their activities are offline, you do not put all your effort into doing an online marketing, advertisement and all that, because you're not going to reach them. These are people who are using mostly the phones that are not smartphones. So what approach do you have to use? In person, word of mouth, and all those other kinds of traditional means of advertisement. So these are the things that you need to think about. Once you have your customer segmentation done, you need to know which kind of channel you want to use in reaching them. So the questions like, how does your value proposition reach your customer? Where can your customers buy or use your products or services? These are questions that you need to answer before you can clearly start pushing your product out there. Now, the last segment on the right side of the value proposition is the customer relationship. Now, you know the customer segmentation, you know how to reach them. What kind of relationship do you want to build with them to ensure they keep coming back to you every time? There are certain businesses that use the one-to-one relationship. So they sell a product to you, but they do not treat you just like any other person. They will try to create a bond with you where once the product is sold, somebody will reach out to you to say, oh, have you received the product? What do you feel about it? Are there any challenges you have with it? How can we solve with it? And we see this very well with some of the banks where they have premium services for certain kinds of clients, and they have the ordinary services to the rest of us who probably do not have so much money in our accounts, and we are not very special. The premium clients, they go to the bank, they have special sections of the bank, they are seated, they have dedicated individuals who always attend to them once they arrive, and all those other things. You as a small business owner would also and should be thinking of that. How do you create relationships for your various group of customer segments? So what relationship does each customer segment expect you to establish and maintain? So I'm hoping that at least now we have an understanding of the output side of the value proposition, the people who are going to benefit from it and what we need to do with them. Feel free to be dropping any questions, comments within the chat feature. Now take your eyes to the other side, the opposite side of the value proposition, which is the left end. Now, for this side, those are the things that have to feed the value proposition. What are the things that you need to do to ensure that you are able to get your value proposition clearly put together, right? So if you move to the left side, we have things like the key resources, the key partners, and the key activities. Why are these important? Because these are the things that would help you establish your value proposition and make your business run. So key partners are who are the kind of people who are important to you as partners. Which key resources do you acquire from these partners, and which key activities do you have to partner them on? And why is this important? As a business, you do not run in a vacuum. You do not operate in a vacuum. You operate in a value chain. There are people whose operations feed into what you do, and equally, some of the things you also do feed into other people's operation. All those people form key partners to your business, because if you were to be running a fashion brand like the way Arabna and her colleague are doing, if you have somebody who supplies you with fabric because you do not manufacture the fabric yourself, if that person fails you today, it affects your business and it's running, and it in turn also affects your customers. So the important thing you need to know is that you need to develop partnership with suppliers of this nature, have multiple options so you do not fall short when one disappoints you. So these are clearly things that you need to identify. Which people are your partners? What kind of resources do you need from them? And what kind of activities would each of these partners play or do within the relationship with you? Now, what resources do you need to create and deliver your value proposition? If you have a business that is like in the case of solar taxi, what resources will you need? Human resource to be able to put together or assemble some of the bicycles, the tricycles, and all the other movable materials and equipment that you are producing through the renewable energy space. You need all those things. You need to think through it and put them together. The last but not the least are the key activities. Now you have your partners, you have the resources. What do you need to do on a daily or regular basis as a business to ensure that you are always running? What key activities do you perform and create to deliver this value proposition? Activities could include things like ensuring that you call your customers on a weekly basis. That's an activity that must be done religiously to ensure your value proposition is delivered. Things like checking your supplies once they are delivered to ensure that they are of the quality that you need before you are able to put them onto the shelves or onto the market. All those things are key activities that you need to be engaged in as a business to ensure that you offer the value proposition which you are promising your clients. Now, we are going to take our eyes briefly to the bottom of the business model canvas. I always describe this side as the bedrock, as the foundation, as the lifeline and the blood of the business, because it gives you two things. It gives you an evidence of how effective your model or your business is running, and it also shows you promise of sustainability and scale up, right? And these are the cost structure and then the revenue stream. They are the things that hold your business together. All the other things at the top there can be talk with work, but if it doesn't reflect in revenue, it doesn't reflect in your business cash flow running every time, then you know that it's just a matter of time before your business dies down. And secondly, based on the conversation we are having today, you may most likely not have anybody ready to invest in your business because they do not see it as a viable business, as a viable idea that you are running. So the first side is the cost structure. What are the things that are important to you in generating cost for your business? What are the things that you need to put money into so your business can run? Those are things that you clearly need to understand. You clearly need to lay them out, find out what those costs are, look for alternatives. Are there cheaper alternatives? Are there others that I can partner with other people to be able to cover? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself in order to deliver the value proposition. And the last part is the revenue stream. Now, while all these things are running, when your business engine is running, you must be able to generate money out of it. You should be able to generate some constant revenue for you. And that is why your customers and their relationship is key, because they are the ones who will be paying for the services and the value that you're offering them. So how do your customers reward you for the value you provide to them? And what are the different revenue models? So as a business, you may not have just one revenue model. You have multiple revenue models depending on the business you are running. And I'm going to stop sharing this and take you back to the slide where I have an example of a completed business model, which I want us to look at. So bear with me. And if you can see my slide again, do let me know. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, please. We can see it clearly.
Okay, great. So based on all the explanation I've offered, this is an already completed business model canvas of Uber. And I decided to use Uber because that is a brand that we have all come to know, we have all come to understand. So at least going through a model canvas of theirs should be something that we can easily relate to. Now, what does Uber offer as a value to its customers? And there are a number of them. But simply put, they offer a platform that connects drivers with riders, people who are looking for convenient ride, easily accessible ride, with drivers who also have cars and are looking for alternative ways that they can use those cars in generating revenue. So what they have decided to do, okay, we create a platform, connect these two categories of people, have their problem solved, and then we make money out of it. That's simply what they are doing. So they describe themselves as the easiest way you want to move around. You want a car anywhere, anytime, you can get it. Low cost luxury, because yes, some of the cars that some of us eventually drive in or are driven in are cars that we may ordinarily not be able to buy. But for the sake of Uber, we've joined those cars. Various levels of service can be offered depending on how much you are willing to pay for it. And for you as a driver, they promise you that you earn money when you want at your own luxury and your own convenience. Now, on the right side, what are the output activities that they try to do? So things like the customer segmentation, the riders, people who need ride, people who are looking for cars. And for the drivers, people who want to earn money driving. So those are the two key categories of people that they are reaching out to. Now, what channel do they use to reach these people? The app that they have created is basically where all the activities are going on. What relationship are they creating? They are creating a relationship of rating system. You're able to rate to clearly determine how each person is performing well within that relationship that has been built. Now you go on the left side. What are the things that are going to feed the value proposition? What are the things that are going to keep the business model properly running? So you look at the key activities that they do every time: hiring drivers constantly, the platform and its maintenance. It must be top-notch because people are always using it. You don't want a situation where the platform would collapse at any point in time, because that clearly will become the end of that business. Marketing and ads every time for people to know about the business, and then running operations, which are things that ordinarily come with any business. And then what key resources do they use? The key platform that they use is a key resource, the driver network, which they have to tap into, talented employees who will be able to keep the business running, and the brand itself is also a very key resource. You hear the name and you are assured of a certain level of quality service. Now, who are their partners? Because it is not a fintech or a financial institution that has to deal with money, it has to partner with payment processors, people who are able to do the payment processing for them and all that. MarTech companies, people who are able to generate geographical mapping systems that allow for navigation depending on which country you find yourself in. Those are the people they have to work with. And investors, people who can put their money into the business because they believe that it's something that can generate revenue. And it will surprise you to know that the likes of Uber and the others took so many years before they could even break even and start making profits, all because they had people who could invest in them, believe in the idea, and put money behind it. Now, for the cost structure, what goes into their costs every day? Employee payroll, they have to pay people, driver payouts when drivers use the service and provide value to the customers. They have to get their cut for that. Legal fees when issues of legal issues come up, people either lose their things, people get into accidents, all sorts of things, even in certain countries, issues of data breaches and all that. Legal fees are things that you always have to contend with once you are dealing with data and all that. Marketing and ads constantly. The tech platform costs, maintaining the tech platform is a lot of money. And the last but not the least is the revenue stream. How do they make their money? For every kilometer or mile that they drive you have to pay for it. So you give that money to them. They also do advertisements. So people run ads and they get money from it. And then price surging in situations where there is a lot of traffic, automatically the price goes up. And that's extra revenue that comes to them. So simply put, this is the business model canvas in practice, clearly completed. And I hope that it offers some level of clarity and understanding to all of us. Bismarck, can I know how well I'm doing with time? I know I was given just 20 minutes, so let me know if I have any much more time. Else, I'll be rounding up and then directing people to checking out some of the other things I had on the slide. So let me know where I am now before I proceed.
Yeah, so we have about 3 minutes.
About 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had past time, but we'll give it 3 extra minutes. Yeah.
Okay, sure. That's certainly not enough for me to do the remaining things, but I absolutely understand. So I'm just going to mention briefly that the important thing about having conversations when it comes to pitching and selling your business to other people, you need to understand that it goes beyond just the idea that you have generated as a business owner. It goes beyond just your own excitement and passion about it. For somebody to put money into your business or somebody to give you money, they should have a certain level of belief in, one, you as a person, two, the team that you are working with, three, the sustainable nature of the business, before even the idea that you are going to run with, because anybody can come up with an idea. That's very, very simple to do. What most people cannot do is running that idea as a business, having the right people to do it together with you, and eventually ensuring that that business becomes sustainable and scalable. So what I tried to do was to just get message and information from certain people who have raised funds before, what they think about the process. And Mishi Adi, who helped Jetstream, her own business, to raise about $30 million in a Series A funding, she said some of the things that startup founders should do in raising capital is that you need to be proactive. You need to always be ahead of time. You need to think ahead of time. You need to take initiative and be forward thinking. Reach out to investors. Don't wait until it's time for you to look for money before you start the process. It's always too late at that time. And treat the process as a marriage. What do we all know about marriage? It requires a lot of commitment, dedication, and focus. That's what you need to be doing in the process. Abdulaziz Mohammed, who is a Kenyan that has raised about 1.9 million for mPost, his business that uses people's mobile phone numbers to generate addresses for them. He says that within the ecosystem, there are entrepreneurs that are coming up and the ecosystem is growing. So we need to support each other. You need connections, strong connections, to be able to break that cycle of not being able to get into the front of people who have the revenue to provide you and all that. So connections are really, really important. Network, very, very key. And the last but not the least is Ikpe Etop of Cars 45, of Auto Check, and a few other businesses, a serial entrepreneur. He says that having financial education and financial understanding is important. Nobody will be throwing money at you if they are not very sure that you can handle that money or even use it. So you as a business owner should have a certain level of financial understanding, expose yourself to that, educate yourself in there, and whatever money you invest in yourself or people invest in you, no matter how little it is, manage it properly so that becomes an evidence for others to believe in you, to add more money to it. There are many things I wanted to share on the issue of pre-seed funding and what you are expected to do, and how you get yourself ready and all that. A few things you need to be aware of when you are getting your pitch deck ready, all those, but I understand we don't have much time. I'm still going to share this material with you. Make time to interact with it. And if you have any questions subsequent to that, feel free to reach out and I would be able to provide that. Thank you so much for your time. And at this point, if there are any questions, any thoughts, any comments, feel free to let me know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anyomitse. Please, if you have had value, type Kelly. Kelly. If you have had value, type Kelly. All right, thank you very much. Any question? We have about 2 minutes for questions. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Can I be heard?
On what, Mr. Anyomitse?
Hello. Can I ask a question? If I can be heard properly?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, so
thank
you
you
can.
very much for this wonderful presentation. I really love how you went through the business model canvas. Yeah, it's really important because I remember one time I joined Citizens Initiative Africa before I left Ghana, and to get a pilot funding is one of the things that you had to look at to understand and be able to pitch a project very well. So it's very good having a better understanding today. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. My question is, currently we are creating an online platform to sell stuff. We ship stuff from China to Ghana. Hopefully we are looking to also expand in the future to other countries, but our target now is Ghana. We are creating an online e-commerce, which is part of QPS, what we are doing now. The website is yet to be completed. My question is, we are looking at how we can compete with online platform that I imagine like Jumia and Tonaton and all those platforms that are evolving in Ghana or in Africa. So my question is, what will you advise, especially when majority of us working on that now are not in Ghana, but we want to get that done for Ghanaians, though we are Ghanaians and we stayed in Ghana for a while before we moved. The management is currently, majority of the management, yeah, not all, but majority, are not in Ghana at the moment. So I know you are very vested in the startup ecosystem in Ghana. So what will you advise in order to stay competitive with the like of Jumia, Tonaton, and Vintage and all those? How can we stay competitive when the website is ready? I'll be glad to know your thought on that. Thank you.
All right, sure. Thank you, Bismarck. So I'll share my thought on that. Actually, the first point I would like to make is that when it comes to the issue of being competitive, the one who makes that determination is usually or ultimately the customer, right? The customer is the one who makes the decision who they want to do business with. And because they are the one who are going to be providing the revenue to you at the end of the day, the customer should be your focus. Now, how do you do that in a space that is extremely competitive? And I will be the first person to admit that the e-commerce space, in as much as we do not have so many e-commerce companies that are at the level of Jumia and Co., it's a very competitive space because those guys, the big guys, have taken almost every space, right? How do you then penetrate that? You penetrate that by not coming to their level to try and compete with them because they'll muscle you out easily. They've got the money, they've got the resources, they've got everything. What you need to do is understand what is making their customers and the people they appeal to frustrated about the kind of offer that they are giving them. What are the things people usually complain about when they are doing business with the likes of Jumia or any other e-commerce platform within that space? Now, if you clearly understand that, and it's something you are capable of doing or something you have resources to be able to put together, then it means that you can potentially get those people off their plate to your side, right? But I must, however, admit that it is not something that would be very easy because it needs a lot of resources. And I don't know what is behind you guys and in your decision to go along that line. You probably have done your own market research. You probably have spoken to some people and understand the space very well. But I would say that one of the first places you can try to get this from is to understand the frustration and the pain points of even the customers of Jumia and the others and try to deliver a value that is quite unique to them. Secondly, you do not necessarily have to operate with the same kind of model that they operate in, right? You could look at their model and see which loophole is in there. If they are just bringing items from a certain part of the globe and putting it through their platform, are there other markets that have not been explored but has a certain appeal and market within Ghana or any of the other target markets that you are looking at where you can source your product from? So you may not necessarily be doing a head-on competition with them, but you will come across as an alternative. So people can still use Jumia and still use your platform because what you are offering is something they do not have on their platform as well. So I'll say that you have to look at it in multiple ways. Don't always think with a competitive hat on top of your head. Also look at potential collaborative opportunities, right? And sometimes that can be your inroads into understanding the space and actually building your own market for yourself. You could also generate niche markets. Look at the kind of people they appeal to. Are there certain groups that they haven't explored well? Right? Can you come up with an e-commerce platform solely dedicated to items for kids or items for a certain, demographic category of people? Now, if you did that, how do you then sell value to those group of people or people who are connected to that particular group? And how do you leverage that market then for yourself? So I think try to give it a deep thought, try to think through it in a very innovative but quite simplistic way as well. Don't overthink it. Test it along the line. And that's always the best way to tell if something will work or not. Test it. If it's working, you build it up. If it's not working, you come back to the drawing board and see how you can leverage it. But also, I'll say, last but not the least, do look at models that are working out in other areas. You can research around other markets that have got the likes of Jumia and co working there, but I've got emerging local e-commerce platforms also doing quite well, satisfying well, even if it's not at their level, at least they are, doing it at their own level and satisfying the customers. Understand their model and learn from what they have done and see if it's something that can fit into the Ghanaian market or any other market that you are thinking of exploring. Those would be my points for now. But I mean, if anything does come up in future, feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss that.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry to, yeah, I was really interested in this conference. And I have another question. I want to testify that I was glad to work with Challenges Group, and you happen to be my country lead when I was working with Challenges Group, if you remember. One of the things I learned as a junior consultant when I was working with Native Jews and Whole Food was that business owners, I mean small-scale businesses, have certain small issues like even recording, taking inventories, and all those little engagement that are necessary for growth. And it's one of the things that motivated us to start working on PragmaServe solutions. And one of the things we look forward to do is to fill the gap when it comes to the challenges that small-scale businesses and even startup face. So you being vested in that area, because I know you've worked several years, and in that area, that's SMEs. So the question I want to ask is, how do you see the startup ecosystem now, especially when it comes to management consulting? Yeah, as you yourself, you are a management consultant and a coach in that regard.
Okay. I appreciate it. And I like the point you started from, and that was one of the things I had wanted to share. If there was enough time for us to discuss this, which was the fact that record keeping, documentation, and tracking is a very, very important part of running a business. In fact, I would say it's one of the most important things you need to do as a business owner, particularly if you are going to be interacting with other players within the ecosystem. It gives you an evidence and gives track record of what you have done and what you are capable of doing, and it gives you enough data to be able to project properly. So I would advise that we all do that in our own little way. And yes, you are right. One of the challenges that most of our businesses have is with being unable to keep records, being unable to properly track what they do. And for the longest time, we've been doing that manually, and through Challenges and the program that you were part of, those are some of the things that we try to introduce businesses to. I would say compared to when we were running Challenges a few years back and now, things have sort of improved. And I must admit that improved because, one, the education within that, education and awareness creation within that space has increased. There are a lot of players in the ecosystem now compared to 6 years ago when we were doing this. There are even GEA, Ghana Enterprises Agency, operates everywhere in the country now. That's a lot of training for young business owners and other business owners, helping them to properly account and track their records. GIZ runs program almost every time across the entire part of the country. There are the likes of SNV, the likes of TechnoServe, InnoHub, and all the entrepreneurial hubs within the space scattered across the country. They are always doing this and exposing entrepreneurs to it. So that, for me, is one aspect to which has brought us a bit far. There is still much work to be done, but we are way ahead of where we used to be. Also, beyond that, there are now tools that have also been developed by innovators within the space. There are tools that help SME owners to be able to do tracking. So either tracking from record keeping for your business operations, your sales and your purchases and all that, or even record keeping for your finances. So I'm sure you've heard about Oze. Oze is an app that allows small business owners to be able to do tracking and projections, and it gives them a lot of pictorial descriptions of some of their activities, whether it's going down on app and possible projections that they can make and all that. So Oze app is one app that business owners can use. And even fintechs that are running in the space now, when you are using their services, they are able to also generate data that allows you to do some form of projection and record keeping. So I would say that we have made progress from where we used to be, but there is still a huge gap within the space that we all need to contribute towards. And the last but not the least, you can never go wrong, even if all these things are not in place with the traditional pen and paper note-taking process. It is always where it has to start from. So if there's somebody who is not literate enough, or somebody who doesn't even know how to do regular cash balance sheets and all those inputs and outputs, record keeping and stuff, just a simple writing, how many sales you make in a day, how many customers visit you, all those basic writing in your notebook can help. It can be the beginning until somebody can come in to want to build upon that for you. So I would say that the mindset of being somebody who keeps record and tracking is even much more important than the tool that would facilitate that process for you. So let's ensure that we do that as entrepreneurs, and it will really, really be helpful to us and the business that we are building. I hope I was able to answer your question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anyomitse, for such a powerful presentation on the business model. I've really learned a lot today, and I must say, I'm going to apply it and get back to you later. Thank you. The entrepreneur journey is a beautiful one, but not without games or not without fun. You can't be an entrepreneur and not having fun. That wouldn't make the journey so fulfilling and so beautiful. So at this time, what do you know? As an entrepreneur, what do you know aside your business? Just think around something. I'm going to call out some riddles for you to answer if you have a fair idea of it. Bismarck?
Yeah, projecting it.
All right, that's perfect.
Can it be seen?
All right, sure. I believe if you can see the screen, type yes or Y for short. If you can see the screen, type yes or Y for short. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So Bismarck, let's go for the first one. All right, for the first one, I believe you can all see it, but I'm also reading it again. I am taken from my mind and shut up in a wooden case, from which I am never released, and yet I am used by almost everybody. What am I? The loudest voice? Waiting for the loudest voice?
Lead pencil.
lead pencil. Any challenger? All right, correct for 5 points. Let's go to the next one. What has cities but no houses, forest but no trees, and water but no fish? The loudest voice? The loudest voice, the loudest voice. Okay, it's a map. A map has cities, no houses, forest but no trees, and water but no fish. It's a map. Let's go to the next one. No matter how little or how much you use me, you change me every month. What am I? This is so easy. An entrepreneur should be able to get this. A clue. This is something that you always check when we are making an appointment with someone. Whether we use it this month or not, perfect. That's it, calendar. That's good. This one, let's move on to the next one. How can 8 plus 8 equals 4? The mathematicians among us, the entrepreneurs who don't joke with their calculations, you should be able to answer this. How can 8 plus 8 equals 4?
I think when you add 8 hours to 8 a.m., you get 4 o'clock. So 8 plus 8, it will be 4.
Okay, so if we are thinking in terms of time, then we could say that 8 plus 8 will be equal to 16 hours GMT, which is 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's how come 8 plus 8 equals 4. All right, thank you for a nice try. Let's go to the last one. The last one. What is hard to catch? The faster you run. Entrepreneurs like to run a lot, and this one they should be able to answer.
Time.
This one comes with a gift, so the person will be able to answer. What is harder to catch? The faster you run.
Breath or the wind?
Say that again. Okay, yeah, sure. All right.
Breath or the wind?
I've seen Wizzy saying time. Friend saying breath, time, breath, or wind. Okay, so the answer is breath or wind. Perfect. All right, congratulations to us all for this amazing brain teaser. It's been awesome. And I want us to know that in our entrepreneur journey, at times we have to pause, reflect, have fun, and continue the journey. With that, you'll be able to do what we have purported in our heart to do. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Prince Kelly, for the amazing presentation there.